Thanks a lot for having me this evening. Yeah, we are pushing ahead with this nomination. Ronny Jackson has denied the most recent allegations that have been put forward by Senator Tester in this document, citing anonymous sources. And I think it's important to be clear. There are anonymous sources on the one hand, while there are individuals who have gone on the record, including President Obama in the past, defending Dr. Jackson, defending his character, his integrity, his conduct as the White House chief physician. Yeah. So, you know, these are accusations. We are looking into them. But Dr. Jackson has been investigated 4 separate times in terms of background investigations, including a most recent FBI background investigation, which Senator Tester himself said, who was briefed on it, said it came back clean.
So just Roz, as a very basic question, when you started this process, when the president said, I want Ronny Jackson, did you do any vetting at all beyond saying he passed background checks from the FBI?
So, first of all, he has passed 3 separate background investigations, and for anybody in a sensitive position as his...
No, I understand, but I'm saying, did you do anything else?
But Aaron, I think for fitness, no, there are obvious questions about what he thinks about veterans issues, how he would conduct and clean up the VA, which are questions very important to the actual position that he's being nominated for. You know, there is a thorough background check in which you interview subordinates, you interview previous bosses, you interview individuals they work with and other friends. So you're saying you did that separate from an FBI background check? The FBI does that. Okay. The FBI does that, and it came back clean. Again, Aaron, it's very important. This is a rear admiral in the United States Navy who's conducted himself, and all published reports on him, all audits, etc., come back with a stellar record, including from President Obama and the current president. He's gone through over a decade. He is, you know, a guy from a small town in West Texas who moved to become the chief physician, and he has shown an impeccable record. And you know, until there is actual evidence behind this, and I want to say this, Senator Tester has issued 2 pages of anonymous accusations against Dr. Jackson.
You heard Mike Brown's GOP though say this is credible. I mean, I'm hesitant to let you make this fully a partisan issue. You have 23 people who've come forward.
What is also credible is President Obama and President Trump. What is also credible are the assessments from you know, numerous audits. I mean, there's an issue regarding prescription drug dispensation by the White House Medical Unit. There have been independent internal and external audits by the Walter Reed Medical Center, internal audits, which are routine, that have shown that the White House Medical Unit dispenses prescription drugs according to medical policy. So there's a lot of evidence. All of it supports Dr. Jackson's character. So do you know enough, Raj,
on that point? I just want to interrupt you because obviously the allegations are now specifically about Percocet, which is an opioid, right? Something everyone in this country is aware of over prescriptions of. There's a very specific allegation. Do you know for sure that that is false, or do you not know yet?
Well, what specific allegation? I just want to be clear.
This is overprescribing Percocet to a military officer.
What I'm saying is that there have been numerous audits done about the White House Medical Unit's use of prescription drugs and issuing of prescription drugs. They do so according to policy, according to medical policy. Several audits under Dr. Jackson's, while he's been the leader of the White House Medical Unit, have given them, you know, a clean bill of health. And, you know, if you are a White House official and he is your physician, he asks you pertinent questions, he informs you of the risks involved, and then he may make an assessment. He is a physician. He will obviously give out prescription drugs when
appropriate. So it sounds like you're saying you're sure that that accusation is false, or are you saying
independent
it didn't show up before?
Have determined.
So, but you're not sure. I mean, I'm trying to understand. Are you looking into these specifically or not, Raj, or are you going to deny them all? I'm just trying to understand.
I understand your point, but it's really impossible to address anonymous allegations, the sources of which we can't interview or speak to. We rely upon the background investigation process. We rely upon the FBI's assessment, which has done interviews with relevant individuals. We rely upon the stellar record that you know, he has shown really in the United States Navy, in the White House, and the assessments from multiple presidents. And I would say that you have right now anonymous accusations that are being presented by Senator Tester. What you also have are people that have gone on record today President Obama's National Security Council Chief of Staff said in the New York Times today he's never seen anything to corroborate these allegations in numerous years of serving alongside Dr. Jackson. You had somebody on your network earlier, a former Secret Service agent, who said nothing that they have seen ever corroborated this stuff.
Raj, what I'm curious about, though, is, I mean, you can make this case, right? And no one knows. No one knows at this point, right? But you do have 23 people. You do have Republicans on that committee saying that these sources are credible. I hear you. You want people to be named. But what I'm trying to understand is, are you going to come out and point blank deny any of this ever happened? Are you prepared to do that? Or are you not prepared to do that?
Dr. Jackson has denied them. He did them earlier today,
but I'm asking about you as the White House. Have you looked into it? Is the President of the United States absolutely sure that these allegations are lies against Dr. Jackson, or is he not sure?
We're saying that there are independent assessments from many individuals and from many credible statements that have been made on the record that speak to his character. All of us in the White House have been around Dr. Jackson for the last 15 months. We've seen him personally. We've seen him conduct his role as a physician. We've seen him on overseas trips, and nothing we have seen corroborates any of these allegations. So we're happy to address them. Dr. Jackson is happy to address them one-on-one with senators and in an open hearing on the record with cameras on live for everyone to see.
A White House official is right now, I don't know if you know this, Raj, but we do have reporting telling Jeff Zeleny that the president today actually raised the prospect of going into the briefing room where Sarah Sanders was to stick up for Dr. Jackson, but that several senior administration officials advised him against doing so. Is that true? Was he advised against doing that?
Well, I wasn't in the meeting. I'll tell you that the president feels very strongly about Dr. Jackson's character, about through his personal interactions with Dr. Jackson, about how strong of a leader he is, that this is a man who served in combat, who's saved lives. He's cared for veterans in the battlefield. He's cared for us at the White House. And he'll do great care for our veterans all across America who deserve his leadership.
So can I just play for you something that Jon Tester said, because I think it's significant to the heart of this, right? To say, sure, maybe President Obama had a great experience with him. He has said he has. President Trump has said he has. But that does not mean that these things are not true. Here's Jon Tester.
We were told time and time again the people above him he treated like gold. The people below him he belittled, screamed at them, really create a very toxic environment to the point where the people that worked around him felt like they had to walk on eggshells because of his lack of respect for their job.
You know, Raj, it just sort of makes me think, when the allegations against Matt Lauer came out or Charlie Rose, I had worked with them and hadn't experienced it. But everything that was said against them that came out to be true, it happened. But I didn't know about it. But it still happened. Isn't it possible that the guys who were, that he was treating don't know that these things happened, but yes, they indeed happened?
Well, with all due respect, Aaron, I guess anything is possible. I think what Senator Tester might be referencing there is an audit that Dr. Jackson himself called for of the White House Medical Unit in 2012, in which some of these allegations were made against him and against another senior manager, for which the report issued most of the blame for the other senior manager. And there was another audit done the next year which showed that morale had improved according to 2/3 of the people who were interviewed. So this, and since then, in subsequent years, he was promoted and given accolades by President Obama and by the current president. Yep. So again, this is a 5-year-old report which has been addressed by the White House and been looked at, and he has been promoted since then as the chief White House physician.
Right. I'm just simply making the point that President of the United States, whoever that is, would not have been aware of his behavior at a Secret Service party or wrecking a car, handing out drugs to someone that he shouldn't. I'm just simply making that point that the President of the United States would not necessarily have known. So they can be speaking honestly and vouching for character and not actually know all the facts.
That may be, but I can attest that Dr. Jackson does know the facts, and he has denied that specific allegation that you just made.
Jeff Zeleny is also reporting that White House aides, I understand you don't want to, but you are preparing for the possibility Jackson may pull his nomination. Is that true?
Well, of course we are. This is, as the president said, Dr. Jackson's decision. We stand behind him 100%, depending on what he decides to do. We think that he'll make a great Secretary of Veterans Affairs, but this is a nasty process right now, and we're seeing it unfold right before us. He's being hammered, frankly, by accusations from individuals who are not going on the record. And as I stated earlier, there have only been 2 new voices on the record who have both defended Dr. Jackson today. So it's very difficult when you're being kind of shot at, from anonymous sources. He deserves the right to defend himself, deserves the right to have a hearing.